a while back we were surveying reasons people don't upgrade OpenWayback, and we were asked to talk about our upgrade process. And it was very short. We don't. Our setup of OpenWayback is very, very simple. We like it that way. So this is probably relatively brief. We do have a number of them. There are 6 legal deposit libraries. Yes. In the UK. Yes.
One of them's not really in the UK, but it's fine.
Yeah. Trinity's in Ireland, but it's historically in part of it's the legal deposit library for the UK, despite not being in the UK. The rest are university libraries and the national libraries of Scotland and Wales. Each has its own OpenWayback, and it's pretty bog standard. The first thing anyone does well, most of us do, when we set up OpenWayback is turn off the BDB CDX collection and turn it to a CDX collection. That's what we do. And then we put in a local resource index, so they all look at a local CDX. The only slightly different thing we do is that we don't have a path index. We have a HTTP call to our DLS system. That's about it. They all do the same thing, and it's pretty basic.
We do put our logo in.
Well, I'm getting onto that.
Oh, sorry.
The only thing we do, it's been mentioned a few times, is we use a Maven overlay to add a few things here and there. The styling of the timeline is in a Maven overlay. There's a link there which is in the slides, which will go to the GitHub OpenWayback page where we documented how to do that. But yes, that's purely styling. And a couple of other things. We have, in legal deposit, for digital content, there's a single concurrent access limitation. As only one person in the UK can view a book at once, you can only one person can view a web page at once. Makes total sense, doesn't it? So we've added a module, I think it's actually at the Tomcat level rather than within Wayback, to allow to lock pages so that only one person can view them at once. That's in the overlay, but that's the only kooky thing in there.
Is that affected by DGP at all? Like, are assets locked across the concurrent user?
No,
page?
It's at the request level, so because it would be a different timestamp.
Right.
Different.
Okay. And is per page and per site?
It's per page. Occasionally there are some odd things.
Yeah.
We had one complaint because 2 different URIs were locking the same page, turned out to be a frame. So they're actually looking at the same thing.
Right.
It's a bit obvious because when it's a composite page, HTML, then we lock the page, but we don't lock the transcluded resources, which is icky. Yeah.
We try not to lock the...
Yeah, we try not to lock the...
Okay.
But if you went to view them independently, it would lock when you're viewing them on their own.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was fun to implement.
Yes. And yeah, we have a 7th one, which is our public-facing one, which is the open access system, which anyone can look at. Again, slight styling changes, and we have one slight change way back. If it can't figure out from the request whether it's an arc or a warc, i.e. it doesn't end .warc.gz, it assumes it's an arc. Really annoying. And we use UIDs on our HTTP calls. So we have a class which works around that. It's just in the overlay.
Just one question to exclusion. Exclusion, what do you exclude on?
It's just Wayback has a text file. Yeah. We just put in. It's usually URLs or domains that people told us we can't display. Okay. And it's just a big text file filled with URIs.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you say you have 6 VMs running for each library?
1 for each.
One
6
for each.
Yes.
Would you be willing to share maybe the specs of your VMs?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are they
all
the same?
They're all the same, and they're pretty low end. We don't exactly have a big user base. I think we probably have fewer than 100 at the BL per month.
Less than.
And that's the busiest out of all 6.
But then the public service gets 100,000 a month now or something. It's really high now.
Yeah.
But that's also running. It's a little more than a web property. It's just shuffling resources back and forth. So it needs very little RAM. Needs disk for the CDX, but the spec of it's quite low. It doesn't need a lot of movement.
It's quite old, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I can certainly share the specs. They're not impressive. And the only thing that is potentially of interest is, it was mentioned earlier, you can, within Spring, include other Spring configs. So all our configs, location of CDXs, that kind of thing, are in a separate file, which is then included within, I think, Wayback.xml. Another thing Spring can do is this search system environment. Because we have 6 different VMs, and each one is, we have a kind of a failover. We have some up north in Boston Spa and 6 down in London. It's not quite failover, but I'll ignore that. We set system environment variables to the names of our DLS systems, so that we only ever have one config. And when we deploy it, Spring allows you to pick up the environment variable name, and that will be put into the config. So it's the same var that goes to all 6, even though the values will be different. It's just a useful tool. And that's about it.